All right, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Dunk Talk, episode 32. My name is Dylan Haugen, and today, no co-host Hunter. Very sad. But it's just we've been struggling with scheduling. There's just a ton of stuff that we got going on. But we do have Donovan here today. So Donovan, if you want to introduce yourself, then we'll get into it.
What's up, guys? I've been on here before. Donovan Hawkins, 21-year-old dunker. And yeah, thank you for having me on again, Dylan.
Sir, did I say my age? Did I say it wrong?
No, you didn't.
Okay, just making sure. I want to make sure. I keep saying my height wrong on here, so I don't want to keep doing my age too. But 17 now,
Growing,
guys. So
growing boy,
so everything
5'11".
that I do is now like not impressive. But yeah. But today, guys, we're kind of going to go through Donovan's last two trips because he's been to some pretty cool places in the last couple months here. Then we're going to kind of get into pro dunker life because I think a lot of y'all that I've seen like talking about you want to be pros don't really understand what it means to be a pro. And obviously, I don't completely understand what it means to be a pro either. That's why we got this guy here because he's been everywhere in the last year. So yeah, we're just gonna get right into it. Obviously, Donovan, if you guys didn't see, went to Abu Dhabi. So Donovan, you just kind of want to talk about that trip, what that experience was like, then what the dunk events were.
Dude, that trip was probably my favorite I've ever done. I mean, I've never been to that side of the world before, right? Asia. I've never been over there before. So it was really cool in that sense. Um, Abu Dhabi in particular was probably like the best place I could have gone. It was really cool. Everyone was so nice there. Everything was so nice, and the trip went really smoothly. So yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, for sure. So I know I saw the clips of you in the show and then that like mini contest or whatever was going on. So if you kind of just want to explain like how many events you did, what those events were, yeah, who you're dunking with
Yeah,
too.
yeah. So we were there for 8 days, 7 days, and over the course of those 7 days, we had three events. They were all spaced out a day, so that was nice. Um, the first one was like a little like mini show. It was literally I did like 8 jumps, I think, 8 or 9 jumps. So it wasn't anything too crazy. Then we left. My favorite one though. So we did during it was like the fan appreciation day, I think, and we did a mini contest. We only got three dunks each, no other rounds, no other dunks, just three dunks. And we had NBA players, all the whole Celtics team and the whole Nuggets team were watching us. So that was really cool, and like the whole stadium was packed. So that was really cool, super fun environment, and we had a couple NBA players be our judges too. So that was really cool.
Did you tell Jalen Brown that you could take him to a dunk contest?
I
That's so
didn't
funny.
mention that to him. No,
I saw someone say that and I was like, oh, dude, that's hilarious.
I think he knew just by watching, but
Yeah,
yeah.
pretty obvious. So what dunks did you do in those three dunks?
The three dunks, I did under both, just a regular windmill and then a 360 spin.
Yeah, and you won, right?
Yeah, I did. That is correct.
Yeah, yeah, that was crazy contest. And you were with Tony Crosby and Doug Anderson, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's such a crazy lineup, not gonna lie. All y'all are right left though. That's kind of crazy. You
Yeah.
need to bring me next time, you know. I'm
For
just kidding.
variety. Yeah.
Nah. But yeah, I don't know if you guys saw the one video that Chuck posted that said like number one ranked pro dunker in the world or something. I thought that was funny, first of all, but we do need to get dunker rankings and
Yeah. Dude,
so
everyone in the comments was so mad. They're like, where can I find this ranking at?
I know someone was like, we got pro dunker rankings before GTA, like everyone was talking about that, but that's hilarious, yeah. Um, so that show was freaking insane. I watched that and I was like, how did you manage to hit like those are basically all your best dunks
Oh,
that
oh
you've
yeah.
done?
So that was the third one. Sorry, I didn't mention that. That was the third. So that was the day after the one we did, like the contest with NBA players. That was the day after, and we just started like warming up. I kind of felt good, so I hit a few normal dunks, whatever. And then I was like, I told Chuck, I was like, how long do we have? He was like, as long as we want. So I just ended up having like a whole session basically. So it was basically just a session with a whole bunch of people watching. So that was really fun.
Yeah, dude, I was watching and I was like, because it just started off with like your warm-up dunks and I was like, yeah, like normal, normal. And then it just was like every single dunk that I've ever seen you do, besides like 360 spin whirlwind and some of those ones. But
Yeah.
I don't know if that's even possible in a show. That'd be insane. But Yeah. Would you say that that was your best like show performance ever?
Um, ooh, you get me thinking now. Let me think. I mean, yeah,
I
in terms
mean,
of like the
you
dunks
hit
I hit,
360 under both, so
yeah, no, yeah. In
and
terms of like the dunks I
360.
hit, yeah, 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 probably.
Yeah, that was crazy. But yeah, super cool trip. Obviously, that was with Team Fight Bears, which if you guys don't know, is like, Chuck Malone. He's the dunk coach for the NBA and all that. So yeah, that's one of like the bigger I don't even know what to call it, to be honest. But yeah, it's just like Chuck brings a bunch of guys and, they go around the world. So that's like kind of something that quite a few pros do, especially when they're starting out. Not that it's like something for, you know, pro dunkers are just getting started like this guy because, he's not pro dunker level yet. But no, I'm
Not
just
quite.
kidding.
I'm trying
Like
to get there.
he gets elite people. So that's kind of like something that a lot of people aim for. And obviously today we're going to be talking about stuff like that and then just everything in general. Um, for pro dunking. So yeah, after that, we'll get into his other trip first. After that, I know you're in Florida, the THP guys, who just kind of want to talk about that, how that went.
Dude, that I think that was my favorite dunk like trip. Not like performance or like coolest place, just trip in general. Dude, that was so fun, man. I had a really good time. Uh, yeah, that was really fun. In terms of actual dunking, it was crazy because we were supposed to dunk on a Saturday, and I woke up like hella late on like on I went to bed hella late on Friday, and I woke up at like 11 on Saturday. Or oh my God, my days are way off. Went to bed really late on Thursday, and I woke up really late on Friday at like 11, and like they were already like on a call, and John was like, "Oh, you're not gonna be happy," and I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Isaiah wants to dunk today instead of tomorrow." So I kind of caught me by surprise, but it ended up being really fun. We played basketball, had a little session as well. That was a really great trip. Yeah.
Yeah, that session was hilarious, bro. The basketball was like, I was like, dude, some like ball is life needs to pick this guy up. Like, even if you have like zero basketball skill, it doesn't even matter, bro. Like, also you actually like surprised me. Like, you didn't like lose the ball or anything. Like, just dunked it every time. Yeah, I should have seen this guy shooting at Wisconsin, bro. Oh my goodness.
No, I wasn't trying. I wasn't trying there.
Yeah, thank goodness they didn't show any of those jump shots, but saved him there. But was that like your first time playing basketball in a while, or I was like,
Yeah, in a minute. I played it. I played. I played in the men's league earlier that year. It's this year, so, no, that year. So yeah, that was my first time since like June playing. So yeah.
yeah, was it is it is it weird to like play basketball and just like doing all the dunks, but like way better than like what you watch as a kid?
No, not weird. It's just so fun, man. Like
Yeah,
every opportunity, Isaiah was like, he told me because he said me and him play basketball the same. Like I just try to dunk everything. Like I don't care if it's way off. It could be like the craziest lob way out of place. I'll still jump for it. Like putbacks, even if it's like it's a terrible angle, it's like 10 feet in the air, I still just jump for it. Like
oh
it
yeah.
doesn't matter. I just
That
go
one
for it.
guy, that one guy threw you a lob that was like outside of the backboard and you just like dropped it in the rim. It's so funny. But yeah, definitely go watch that video if you have not, guys. But yeah, dude, I think I used to when I was like really young, bro, I used to literally like play through games in my entire games in my head, just like on 7.5 and just like screw around, just like do dunks that like have no business being done in an actual basketball game. And I swear like watching Donovan just like reminds me of that. Like just doing like stupid stuff like every single play. This is so funny. But
I think that's where I get my skill from. I used to do that too. I used to practice in-game dunks by myself
yeah,
outside. I think that's
yeah.
where it comes from. Just the confidence.
Yeah. I want to get back to doing that actually because high school's like starting up for me soon. I'm like, bro, I need to actually hit some dunks this year. Like,
Dude, you get some
that'd be so
crazy
funny.
in-game dunks, bro.
Last weekend, we had like our first like fall scrimmages or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And bro, the first rim that we warmed up on was literally like 9.8, 9.9. And I was like, oh my gosh. And the thing is for like dribble dunks for me are not like lob dunks. Like any day of the week, I can go out and hit a windmill basically. But
Mhm.
like if it's like a really bad day, bro, like there are days where I literally cannot do a two-hander off a dribble. Like it's that bad. Like I just
Yeah.
don't do off dribble at all. But I'm like third jump of the day doing like Donovan back scratcher and like almost hit like an East Bay off dribble. Like it was ridiculous. So I was like, oh, I'm dunking this game.
That's sick.
And then of course, get no opportunity to dunk the ball. But yeah, that's why I need to work on it. Cause like there are definitely times where like I could dunk it. I'm just like not thinking about it at all
You
because
need
I
to
don't
you need to
practice
hit
it.
your first under both in game.
Oh, I was actually just thinking about that. I was like, what if I hit the Travis self bounce under both like on a fast break?
Dude, you
I feel
could. Dude,
like
just
that would be the way to do it if I did do it. But probably got a year before that. So
yeah.
yeah. I think it would be just so funny to just keep playing basketball and then just like dunk everything, like don't even do anything else.
I want to
Um,
play again ever since we played. I just want to
I
go
know,
like,
dude.
but then I'm gonna play against like someone actually good. I'm just gonna get like dumpstered. I'm like, it's not gonna be fun.
Yeah. Just gotta make sure you're on their team. Then you'll be good. But yeah, so obviously, guys, Donovan been traveling a lot. So a lot of that is, because he's a pro, like he's not necessarily paying for all these, like they're just events he's going to. So today, again, we're gonna talk about kind of, what it's like to be a pro, how you get these opportunities, and then just what kind of some of these opportunities look like. So first of all, just kind of want to talk about how you get noticed. I have some things that I want to say because I think a lot of people need to hear this, but we'll start out with Donovan. Like, how do you think people should go about getting noticed when it comes to, wanting to do events and stuff? Just yeah,
Can I switch it around? Am I allowed to do that? Can I have
yeah,
you
for
go
sure.
first? Yeah,
All
you go
right,
first. I want to hear
sure.
what you have to say first.
I just thought of this like 10 minutes before the call. I thought this is like super true and pretty hilarious, but dunking is not like every other sport. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. They kind of treat it like every other sport. So, for example, I play basketball, right? I used to want to go to college to play basketball. I'm sure Donovan thinks the same way because he played sports as well. But to play basketball in college, you don't need to be famous on social media. It can definitely help in certain like ways, but I think generally, like, if someone is recruiting you, like let's just say you're getting recruited to go to Duke, like that's how good you are. Um, the coach is going to show up to your games. Like there's going to be scouts at your games, um, because you're that freaking good. And you're going to be on programs like UIBL that like you're that good. Like people are going to come watch your games. For dunking, that's not how it goes. If you do not post videos at all, or if you do not get noticed at all, like Chuck is not gonna pull up to your random open gym in whatever state you live in and just be like, "Oh, dude, you're insane! Like, come with me on tour." Like that is, it's just not gonna happen. So, and I say this to like all my basketball teammates as well. Like, if you want to get noticed even more, post your film on Twitter or X or whatever. Same thing for dunking, except that has to be the main thing because nobody sees you dunking except the other people in the gym. And most of the time, those people are just like, wow, that guy's good at basketball. Like they don't really consider it the same thing. So, like, if you truly want to get into pro dunking or just like high levels of dunking in general, you have to realize that, like, you can only go so far without being, without posting your dunks. And obviously, you could go about it a different way and like kind of like fly out to sessions and stuff, but it's a lot more cost effective to just buy a $15 tripod and just film your dunks and post them on social media, tag people, follow people, talk to people. That's exactly what I did. I mean, the only like things that I've really spent money on is like dunk camp, but that's more for just like the experience of going to dunk camp. But everything that I do generally is free, or like I would do it anyways. Like if I go pay to go to an open gym later today to dunk, like I would do that no matter what. So that's just kind of my thoughts. Like, you just kind of have to realize that it's not the exact same as other sports where like you get recruited no matter what because people actually watch your games. And dunking, nobody watches your dunk sessions unless you put them out there for people to watch. So that's kind of my opinion on how to get noticed.
That was pretty good. I like that. Yeah, you definitely, like you said, different than most sports. You definitely have to have a presence on social media. Be pretty consistently posting your stuff. It's kind of like if you want to view it like a normal job, it's kind of like your resume, right? That's how I learned it. So everything you have on your page is going to be your resume, and that's what people are going to see when they take a look at when they want to maybe right use you in let's say in a show, for example, they want to use you in a show. They're going to take a look at your resume, right? It's your page. They're going to scroll through your dunks. You're going to see who follows you, who you know, things like that. Another one that I think is really important, and this goes for, like I said, everything in life, including like regular jobs too, you have to connect yourself with the right people. So you have to put yourself out there. So that includes posting videos on social media, but as well as purposely putting yourself in situations where you'll be able to connect with the right people. So, like, I'll give you an example. So, for the first time I ever got a video on Billy's page, I've been asking him for like 2 years, and then it just happened one time. Just it actually worked. I asked him. I said this was back in 2021. I was like, "Hey, can I come? I'll come to LA, whatever, and you just film me." And he already had kind of seen my dunks before, so he kind of knew who I was, but he agreed. And then that's a connection I made that I haven't lost since. But he's a great guy. We still get along, still do videos. So he said you gotta connect yourself with the right people. No one's gonna do it for you. And I like your thing too. Post on social media. That's good.
Yeah, for sure. The connections thing is something that a lot of people definitely don't even consider. Like, like what I think a lot of people think is like, oh, I'm good, so I'm ready for shows. Like, that's not necessarily true. You need to be just out there in general. So, yeah, another
Also,
thing, go
oh,
for it.
you go for it. You go for it. You go.
All right. I was gonna say video quality is, it's not like the most important thing, but bro, there are people that I see that are so freaking good at dunking, but then they post like this video that's like 2 pixels, or like, they have it set up like on the floor against your water bottle or some. Like, at least you're filming your dunks. I'll give you that. Like, I'm happy you're filming your dunks, but like, come on, bro. Another thing is over editing. If you over edit your videos, I was just talking to someone about this the other day. Like, you might think it looks cool, but at the end of the day, like, we can't really tell what's going on. Like, if you're like, having your dunk, you're going in and then all of a sudden it stops and like you're going in like 0.001 speed, like nobody can tell what's going on. When you put slow-mo that slow, it's super choppy. And then, you cut back and you cut in, like nobody can tell what's going on. Like, look up some basic editing tutorials, bro. It's so simple. Like, learn how to do keyframes or just leave the video raw. If anything, just leave it raw, bro. We do not want to see over edited videos. So you really want to make sure that also when you do like use those like crappy camera angles and like crappy videos in general, nobody can tell if it's legit or not. So like you want to make sure that people know that you're dunking on at least a semi-legit rim. Um, so yeah, that's just another thing. It's just make sure your videos are decent. I'm not asking you to go buy a $4,000 camera, but make sure your videos are at least watchable. Like that's really it.
Yeah, that's a good tip. And I see a yo, yo, Finn, when you edit your videos, can you just use CapCut, bro? It's free. Take the watermark out of your videos and then they'll be
I've
good.
been telling him that for so long,
Dude,
dude.
Finn, it's free. You can just download it for free. And then
And it's the
there's no
exact
watermark.
same thing, bro.
It's the exact same thing. Love you, Finn.
Yeah, I love you, Phil. Bro, I edited like a mix for him and he's like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen and like all this and then he's like and I'm like, yeah, you should download CapCut and learn how to use it. And he's like, oh yeah, I should. And then like I just see video shop on the next one. I'm like, oh my gosh.
You went right back
Come
to it.
on, bro. Yeah. Oh, what were you gonna say before that though?
I forgot. It was something to do with uh, it was something before. Man, whatever. I'll come back to it probably.
All right. Well, yeah. Again, we're gonna, just keep talking about kind of what you can do, and what you can expect from it. So I guess we can just go through like what can you expect from a typical dunk show? Like let's just say, Donovan's getting flown out to dunk somewhere. Like what can you expect like the trip to look like in general?
Man, I know you've heard this before from a ton of other pros. It really varies event to event, and you try to limit the amount of events that are gonna limit the amount of events that aren't going to be the best, you could say. Um, Working with the best is one way to do that because they provide the best overall experience. But if you're working with someone who's good and knows what they're doing, and they're like, respected in the community, it'll be a good experience. You'll have travel days, and then you'll probably have one rest day before you dunk, and you'll leave the next day. You'll get hotel, food, everything. So that's good. If you're working with someone or a company that's not as great, and maybe a little bit worse than that, maybe you take let's say, a 9-hour flight and then get in the day of and have to dunk that same day. yeah, that's not the best. It happens, but move on after that. Uh, but yeah, it's usually pretty good. So like you said, you get travel, transportation, food, hotel. That's all you need, man. And then just dunk.
Yeah. I do have one question that was asked quite a bit at dunk camp during like the Q&As, but it would be cool to get your opinion on it. So basically, a lot of people, like for example, like the Utah guys, I think they might have been the ones that asked this question actually, but if you guys don't know, like the Utah Dunk Squad, they do a ton of events. And one of their questions to the pros, I think it was from them anyway, was like, how do you know like what events are worth taking? And when you're just getting started, like for example, me in like a year, would it be worth just literally taking every single event, like just to get your name out there? Or, what do you think in general about that? All right, guys, we're back. Sorry about that. Gonna need to actually edit this episode. This is sad, but the I don't know, Wi-Fi keeps cutting out. But question was, um, how do you know what events to take, and like, is it worth taking every event, basically? So yeah,
Gotcha. The way I like to look at it is it's pretty simple. Uh, maybe a little bit hard to decide in the moment because when you get offered an event, right, you immediately, for the most part, want to take it right away. Like, no way, right? I got an event and this could be good for me, whatever, right? The way I like to look at it is the event I'm going to be doing worth it? And there's a few ways you can judge this, right? Is the exposure going to be really high? It's the first way. Is the pay going to be really high? Or the third one's a little uh, not so nice, but it's going to be worth my time. So there's a few things, right, that go into it, and really, it's up to you if you feel that it meets all three of those, or at least a couple of them, and you're willing to do it, then go for it. But yeah, it's definitely more personal. Whatever you feel is right for you. So yeah, that's how I like to look at it.
yeah, for sure. So if you like, let's just say you're like 17, right? And you're starting to like get events. I don't know if you got anything at that time, but if you were 17 again and you started to get events that were like lower level events, would you take them? Like, just based on your skill level, like would you take them no matter what they are, or would you still kind of apply that same logic to it?
Uh, yeah, it's definitely going to be, especially if you're at that age and that like skill level, you're pretty much going to take what you can get. But there's still a little bit of what I said earlier. Like, if you're 17 and you can do, let's say you can do a few double up dunks and you can hit East Bay pretty consistently, then you're still at you're at a decently high skill level. So, if you get like an event and someone's like, yeah, come do this event for free, and we're a really small company with 1,000 followers on Instagram, and there's going to be 15 people there. Maybe not, right? You not right. So let's go over those things I said, right? For free, so no pay, no exposure because the 1,000 followers they have. And then the third one, right? You don't really get anything out of it because there's no benefit of there being in person. It's not like there's a huge crowd and there's just gonna be a few people there. It's for like whatever, like an opening of something. So didn't really qualify. And even though, like you said, you want to get practice down, and you could do it for that if you just want to get practice down. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend that. But if it's something like, hey, we'll give you a little bit of money, then sure, right? You can take that. Or this is going to be like on Ball's Life or something, or even a smaller page, but something like that. Then yeah, that's really good exposure. I feel like if you're at that age and that skill level, it's got to meet at least one of those three requirements, but not doesn't have to meet all three.
Yeah, I feel that. I, I've done that like twice now, but whatever. Anyway, actually, no, two of my events there was a lot of people there. One of them there was literally probably like 30
The
people there.
park, the park one looked hype. I'm not gonna lie.
There was probably 200 people there. That was
Yeah, that
cool,
one looked cool.
especially because the rim was like 9'8".
Ooh.
It's so funny, bro. That was like a day after dunk camp, bro. I probably jumped like 1,000 times in 4 days. Then I go and do a freaking contest the day after. If I was going against anyone else in Minnesota, I would have won too. It's so disappointing. But 9'8" warrior, I guess. So yeah, guys. So kind of going back to like getting noticed. Obviously, we talked about um, posting decently high quality videos, and then just kind of putting yourself out there, getting connections. So I think those are the main things. I don't really, think I have anything else of ways that I would get noticed. I
I
think
got something
just
else to add to that to getting
go for it.
noticed. I learned this for myself, and I think other dunkers will come to learn it as well. And it's that everyone has a different path with dunking, but it takes time. And I think people don't like that, and they want it to be instant. And also, it's like if you want to have the best shows, right? You want to be a part of the best shows with the best dunkers and go to the best places. A lot of people want that. So there's a couple things going into it. Like I said, it takes time. I've been dunking and posting since I was 17, and only in the past 1 year I've started getting events, right? And I felt like at a time in my dunk journey, like a few years ago, I felt like I was ready. I was like, well, no, I'm ready to do this now, and I was, it gets frustrating, right? It's like, why am I not progressing? Why am I not getting events, right? But it really truly just does take time, and you have to stay consistent with it. That's one of the aspects.
Yeah, for sure. I just remembered another thing that was talked about at Dunk Camp a little bit, going back to kind of like what events are worth taking. You have to remember, um, especially like, once you get to like, really high level of dunking, especially you have to remember like, is this worth like kind of going back to what Donovan said about is this worth my time actually? But one way that you can tell if it's worth your time is if like if you're taking time away from training just to go to one of those events that like isn't really going to give you much, then like that's what is gonna, really that can really tell you whether it's worth your time or not. Because especially even if there is an event where it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm getting paid a bit, there's gonna be a decent amount of exposure, but they're making me dunk 3, 4 times in 1 week, and I, can't train at all and whatever. Like, especially when you go on for like more than a couple weeks, like that's when it really gets to the point where it's like this is really getting in the way of my training. I'm going to be insanely detrained by the time I get back, and it's not entirely worth my time. So like that's another way that you can tell if it's worth your time. It's if kind of like the one step forward, 2 steps backward thing. Like you want to keep continuing to get better. So like I do want to get a little bit into FIBA because I think that's kind of like one of the more common ones that people do and want to get into. But I'm pretty sure FIBA, based on what Donovan's told me in the past anyway, is like only like a few days. So you literally just go, you do your contest or whatever, and you come back. Like that is not necessarily going to detrain you a ton. So just like keep take that into account like when you start getting events as well. But yeah, if you got anything to say about that, we can definitely do that. But otherwise, kind of want to hop into what a FIBA weekend looks like.
Yeah, we
But
can do that. We can hop right into that.
all right, well, just if you guys didn't know, Donovan went to Edmonton. I don't even remember when it was, but earlier this year, won against Finn and B Ruff. So yeah, FIBA, if you guys do not know, is I don't even know how to describe it, but it's kind of like the International Basketball League or something like that, right? I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but they host FIBA 3x3, which is like 3-on-3 tournaments. I'm pretty sure 3-on-3 was in the Olympics at some point, wasn't it?
This
Yeah.
year,
So
yeah,
yeah, so they got quite a bit going on, and at most of, if not all of their little 3-on-3 tournament things, they get all the countries there, and they also host a dunk contest or dunk show a lot of the time, which is super cool because they've kind of gotten opportunities for dunkers to just get paid, like just for going out for a weekend doing their dunks and showing all the people there, and you get to like travel and stuff too. So sounds really cool. So again, Donovan went to Edmonton, and yeah, he's probably gonna tell us about his experience there.
yeah. I mean, like working with FIBA is a great time. They provide travel, so wherever you're coming from, wherever you're going to, they'll give that to you. They also give you transportation everywhere you need to go, and they give you food, which is really nice of them. And then the actual event, right? You fly in the day before, and usually it's an earlier flight, so you have the rest of that day to kind of relax and get yourself ready. And then the next day, usually in the second half of the day, afternoon or early evening, you'll have your dunk contest. And then the day after you leave. So pretty simple, straightforward, but like I said, they're really nice to work with. Great.
Yeah, for sure. What was I gonna say? So obviously, if you guys win, if you win a FIBA contest, I think the general prize is like 4,000 US dollars. which is pretty good, for one weekend. But I wanted to ask, do you get paid at all if you like go and lose or not really?
Yeah, there is second and third place prizes. I think it's I think for yeah, first it's 4,000 and then second and third, I think it's 1,000 and then 800 for third place. So
All right.
1,000 second,
That's
800
still
third.
good. I honestly thought it was just nothing, so
No,
that's
no,
pretty
no.
good.
Everyone gets paid.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So yeah, even like that is something like if you guys get a FIBA contest, I would suggest taking it. Like it sounds like generally not a it's not a wasted like that's one of the ones where it's like it's a pretty big organization.
Definitely a
You
good
know,
use of your time.
yeah, like they pay for everything. You get paid, so it's not like you're losing money. Like there are definitely shows and contests out there that if you guys are like wanting to get into pro dunk, you will probably get some shows where like you will lose money to go to. And I think a lot of pro dunkers at some point do kind of do those shows where they're like, they're going out basically just for the exposure, but in the end they're kind of losing more than they gain. And I do think in some cases that's not the worst thing ever, especially if you really love it and like you are getting truly a lot of exposure. But I'd say FIBA is one of those ones where you can definitely go and do that and you're not losing anything. You're gaining quite a bit. And again, what Donovan said earlier, that's a connection now that, Donovan will have for forever unless he, says something crazy right here. But obviously he's not going to do that. So, yeah. But yeah, again, just building connections and deciding what's worth your time. I'd say that one is definitely worth your time. So,
Yep.
yeah. You got any other shows or events you want to talk about?
Man, let's see. In what regard? How so? Just in general, or like what about them particularly?
Just any learning moments for
Any
the
learning
viewers.
moments? Oh, there definitely is some learning moments. Let me think back now. Oh yeah, here you go. Here's one. So like consistency is really big. So I learned this before my first event actually. Someone mentioned to me that for a dunk contest, it's anywhere between for the contest, not show. It's anywhere between 3 to 5 dunks. So that's what's gonna be. Maybe we can say 2 to 6. We'll be really broad with it. Anywhere from 2 to 6 dunks in a dunk contest. So when you're practicing in all your sessions, right? That's the way I like to look at least. I don't know if everyone does. I love dunking, right? I do it right without the camera. But the way I like to look at sessions is it's practice. So even though I'm having fun, it's also like shows my preparedness, my readiness at any given time. So it's not just me having fun, right? There's more to it. It's my practice for my events and shows. So you need to stay consistent, and you really only need maximum 5 consistent dunks. So that's one big thing with any event you do. Don't try dunks that you can't do because that will kill the environment. But also make sure you're at a point where you have dunks that are consistent enough that are also still somewhat impressive, right? Don't just go to a show with a 360 in your bag and off the backboard and be like, yes, sir, right? There's yeah, have dunks that you know you can do and you know you can make, and just be good at them and keep doing those ones. Consistency was my tip, Dylan. That was my tip.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think another thing a lot of people do is like, for example, I think you could probably attest to this when you were in what was it, QA 54, is that how you say it? One of the dunks that he tried that he missed that he would have won if he would have probably done something easier was off the backboard under both. And so even like I know he talked about like don't do dunks you can't do. I'm not saying that because Donovan can't do that dunk. Like Donovan has crushed that dunk so many times and he could definitely hit it in the contest now. And he could have hit it in the contest that day too. But like even doing dunks that you're not like entirely consistent with is something that can just kill your performance. Like that was probably one of the biggest contests of the year and he lost because he did that. And if you were to go back, I guarantee you probably would have picked something slightly easier, right?
Yeah, I definitely would have. I could have
Yeah.
just done like I could have done like a windmill like punch and I would have won
Yeah,
the contest.
exactly.
But
That's what I'm saying. Like a lot of people, like during my contest, I was literally thinking about that because I was like, all right, I have one dunk left. I literally have this in the bag if I just make my dunk, no matter what it is, because
Yeah.
especially if you're like up to begin with and then you go for something like that, or just a dunk that is like really hard. Like you're just it, obviously you want to hit like your best dunk possible. But for me, like it was between for me it was between double up X or double up East Bay. And I was like, all right, well, double up X is like a layup for me right now. So,
Mhm.
just throw a couple more people under the rim, make it look cooler, and like just crush that. Or miss double up East Bay 3 times and then just like walk out of the gym like an idiot because I just like completely sold, knowing that I have dunks in my bag that the crowd will love, first of all, um, and would have gone down easy. So like knowing that any dunk that you do is more than anyone in the crowd can do. So like I'm not saying for your last dunk just play it safe and do a one-hander, but like there's levels to it, like obviously. So, pick dunks that you can definitely do, especially like the later in the contest it gets. Um, I want to talk about like contest structuring. What would be your tips for like kind of like start of contest versus end of contest? Like, do you want to pull out your best dunk first? You want to wait and save it for last, or just like different rounds and stuff?
Man, so the way I look at it is a lot different than a lot. Actually, I don't think I've ever heard any other pro dunker say what I'm gonna say. This is the way I like to do it, and I'm gonna put you guys on game. If you guys want to take my tips, you can take them. But if not, if not. So every pro dunker, yeah, I've never heard anyone say what I'm about to say. So they always say start with one you know you're gonna make, and then get better, 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 right? So let's say you have 4 dunks. One, just be whatever you make every single time in a session, no matter what, and then slowly increase the intensity and like the wow factor on all your dunks. I like to look at it the opposite way. So we all know that judging is notoriously bad, right? So we know that most time it's celebrity judges or just honestly random people that don't really know anything about dunking. So the way I like to do it is the flip side. So I like to go if I have 4 dunks, my best first, and slowly work my way down. I'll explain a little bit of my reasoning. Don't know if it's actually a fact or not or true. It's the way I look at it. I start with my best dunk first, usually, uh, because the way I see it is when you do your best dunk first, the judges again don't know what they're looking at. So every dunk you do after that, doesn't matter what it is, it's going to be insane to them because they already know what you can do. So if they, for example, I usually start my contests or shows with an under both. Everyone goes crazy. They're like, "What the heck? That's crazy!" And I can just end the show. Well, if my fourth dunk's like a windmill, and they're like, "Oh my, that was crazy." Every dunk I do after that's going to be equally as crazy, no matter what it is, because they already know what I can do. So that's why I like how I look at it. I take them by surprise, right? My wow factor is right off the bat, so they're already into me right away. So that's how I like to look at it.
Yeah, again, like you said, not a lot of people do it like that, but I actually love that. Um, and I actually agree with it. I think definitely you can do both ways. Like that's the one thing. It's like it's definitely possible both ways, but
It
again,
is, yeah.
it depends on the judging. Like that's what it really comes down to. Like, for example, Donovan could do, an under both and they'd be like, oh, well, he probably has better than that. I'll give it an 8. Like it really depends. Um, or like he said, like especially watching the FIBA contest. I was watching that contest live, and I don't even remember what everyone else did, but like I think Finn did like a 360 windmill. I don't remember what B-Rup's first dunk was. Let's just say it was like a double up X or something like that. And then you watch Donovan do like a under both first try. Like it just kind of gives the impression like, okay, this guy is way better than everyone else. Like that's what it looks like to, someone that's watching. So again, yeah, like you kind of get like an edge over everyone else like right before you start. So again, it's definitely possible to do it either way, but yeah, just kind of know, what level you're at. And yeah, I don't really know how to say it, but just kind of experiment a bit, like, experiment with where your dunks are in order. But yeah, I like the way Donovan does it a lot because I mean, it's, after your first dunk, it's like you already won. And then it's like, okay, well, everything after that can be a lot easier. So
So one of my, and
yeah,
I have another just tip to add in general for any contest or show. Again, I learned this pretty early on in my career. Simplicity over technicality. And though it seems like it would be the opposite way, but trust me, it's not.
not
Do
to the average people. Yeah.
No, exactly, exactly. Do A hard enough dunk to where it's visually impressive and someone's like, man, I don't see almost anyone doing that, or I rarely see that done. Do that dunk over something that is way more technically advanced any day of the week and stay with those dunks. Those are way more impressive and you know you can make them. So that's a big reason why as well. A show with let's say like a ton of like one-handers punched, windmills punched, and East Bays punched is way better than a show with 360 East Bays and windmill elbows that are all missed, right? So simplicity, but make sure they look good over technicality any day.
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, like don't rib graze your dunks. Like kind of goes back to like knowing what you can and can't do. But oh my gosh, we frozen again. Bro. Oh. All right, guys, cut out again. But those were some tips for dunk contests and shows with Donnie Hawkins. So pretty good episode, guys. We're gonna wrap it up so that that does not happen again. But got a lot of episodes coming soon, guys. Hopefully we get part 3 of the How Dunking Can Grow series going again with Justin, Barber, CJ, Billy, Donovan, Hunter, me, everybody. That will hopefully be getting going again very soon. So yeah, guys, go tell Hunter to, get his scheduling figured out.
I
No, I'm
was
just
just gonna
kidding.
say L Hunt
Oh my
enter
God.
in the comments right now.
Bro, I was about to crash out. The
Bro,
thing the
it's gonna
thing
crash. You were gonna
no, bro,
crash
the
mid video.
stupid the
That's
thing just
crazy.
the thing just crashed again. But all right, we're gonna wrap it up so that we don't have to film this again. But
Thank you for
thank you
having
guys
me
for
on,
watching.
Dylan.
Yes, sir. Always. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to stay tuned. And yeah, again, peace out, y'all.